Hello, folks. This is Steve A.B. Foriel. Nothing in this episode is a promotion, nor is it a recommendation. Now, I go to slashdot.org to keep up with the news for nerds. I'm a nerd. Now, when I looked at this earlier this afternoon, the item I'm interested in was number one. But look at it now. Microsoft may bring AI. Everything is AI. Microsoft, never mind. IBM says generative AI tool can convert old COBOL code to Java. I like the way when I enlarge it, it screws it up. It's a wonderful browser design, don't you think? Those guys at the Chromium project, which is backed by Google, they're geniuses. They have high standards of what they let through. IBM is introducing the Watson X Code Assist for Z. IBM Z machines. What is IBM Z Systems? See them? Well, let's get it right from IBM. Use a powerful and secure Use a powerful and secure platform. We'll get back to this one. This is a good find. Use a powerful and secure platform for business to create, innovate, and build your future. IBM Z is the family of modern Z architecture hardware that runs z/OS operating system, Linux, ZVM, and IBM Z system. Now, do you see where it says ZVM? Let's look at this one. Oh no, that's the Java. That's the actual. I thought it was going to jump to the actual article on IBM. According to IBM, there are billions of lines of COBOL code out there as potential candidates for modernization. A report last year estimated the total figure at as much as 850 billion lines of COBOL code. Now remember, I started programming Motorola 6809 CPUs in 1983. And COBOL was already old by then. Let's see if I know what I'm talking about. COBOL, acronym for Common Business-Oriented Language, right? COBOL is compiled English-like computer programming language designed for business use, like business records. It's an imperative, procedural, and simple object-oriented languages used primarily in business, finance, and administrative systems for governments and companies. COBOL is still widely used in applications deployed on mainframe computers, such as large-scale batch and transaction. Okay, How do you think the credit card companies or the banks are able to process, like you go to the big box store, you put your bank card in there, and it goes through. How is it that that ends up online 15 minutes later when you get home and you look and you can see that you bought something at the big box store? Well, behind the scenes, besides the web and all that crap, the actual processing is probably done in COBOL. And they're using the same code they've been using for 30 or more years. Why would they do that? I'll come back to that. I know the answer. However, due to its declining popularity and the retirement of experienced COBOL programmers. Oh, you mean people, when they start taking up computers, they learn another language and not COBOL? Really? Like C++ or Java or Go, or see, I'm making fun of it. Most programming in COBOL is now purely to maintain existing applications. Why would they do that? Wait a minute, there's the key phrase. To maintain existing applications. However, many large financial institutions, you mean banks, credit card companies? We're still developing new systems in COBOL as late as 2006. Now, before we get to the rest of the article, let me answer the critical question. Why would they still be running the same? Because it's 1,000% predictable and debugged. Yeah, that's right. The basic financial bookkeeping systems of banks and whatever, stock exchanges and whatever, were locked down. The code that they used was locked down at least 30 years ago. Why? Why? Let's say you're Wells Fargo Bank. You've heard of them. There it is. I'm not promoting anything. They got a Wells Fargo down the road 4 miles away. See, there's a website. Okay? Now, wait a minute. Wikipedia, Wells Fargo. You know, it used to be Stagecoaches. Wells Fargo. Now, here's the key thing. First time I'm reading this. How do I know it's a key thing? Wells Fargo and Company is an American multinational financial services company with a significant global presence. What does that mean? The company operates in 35 countries and serves over, I wanted to get the actual numbers, serves over 70 million customers worldwide. Okay. How many people that of its 70 million customers do you think might have had a financial transaction to, like wrote a check, a credit card, or whatever, deposit, withdrawal? Of that 70 million, let's just pick a small fraction. Let's say it's only 1 in 10. So today, 77 million people did something with their Wells Fargo bank account of some kind, where money was moved. And some a-hole decided to apply a software patch to the operating system that's running the financial COBOL programs. Oh, wait a minute. And somehow that down underneath update just to some obscure part of their mainframe computers, suddenly 50% of those 7 million transactions are wrong as soon as they look at it. They got the numbers wrong. Now remember, I work for that big internationally known, internationally operating IT company. And what I'm about to say, I know for a fact because I dealt with it. I just gave you an imaginary scenario. You've got Wells Fargo, I'm just picking on them. They're the biggest commercial bank in the world. They do a software update on the mainframe somehow, and immediately the numbers of people's, I thought I put in $103 and it says, I don't have any money left in my account. How do you fix a mistake that goes across 7 million transactions? Do you do it in 2 seconds? And what about all those worried, pissed off customers that now are ringing the hell out of your online and telephone 900-800 number service? What the hell's going on? So what I learned working for that big internationally known, internationally operating IT company, dealing with, among other companies, the one we're talking about, there is no such thing as you just go, last Tuesday was Patch Tuesday for the Windows operating system. Every month there's Patch Tuesday. It's the second Tuesday of the month when Microsoft publishes all the updates and all of the new bugs they're going to create with those updates. And then they spend the next couple of weeks figuring out to listen to the complaints and try to fix all that up. Well, when you're a big bank, like let's say Wells Fargo as an example, you lock your systems down and there's no such thing as doing updates. They're running code that's, quote, years old at the operating system level, at the COBOL level. Why? Because every time they do a software update, something goes wrong across, 1 million accounts today. And they have to fix it. So they have an iron rule. No updates once it's been completely debugged and locked down. And if you touch it, you have no idea what we're going to do to you. And if you think I'm exaggerating, I'm not, because I dealt with it directly in an emergency patch situation. We promise you that what you should do is go to the version of our product that you're using, then go to the software patch level that that computer is at. So, let's say it's version 7, and how many patch releases were there? Let's say during the life of that product, 14. Go to the version in the table, go to the version that you're using, go to the patch level that you're at for that machine, and use that update. And what we promise you is, this is what we did. What we promise you is, we didn't touch any more code than was absolutely required in order to fix the security problem. And we didn't touch anything else. There aren't 6 or a dozen fixes in there with it. We didn't touch any more code than absolutely necessary to fix the security problem that would let somebody take over your system in 10 seconds. I'm not making it up. That's exactly what we told them. That's exactly what we told them. Why did we go? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no. Some of those big customers in the financial area, as an example. Oh, that's right. The current releases that were being used with 6, 7, and 8 had just come out, but they were back on 3. They were back on version 3. See, that's like saying, oh, you need to upgrade to Windows 11. What do you mean you're using Windows 95? Answer, because we've totally debugged it and we can't afford any screw-ups, because every time we put one of your patches on, we have to fix things for 1 million customers. I'm explaining the situation. I'm picking on this one, but it's true for all of them. I'm explaining why they're still using COBOL code. It's the same reason. Now let's get back to what IBM is going to do for these people who are running COBOL. Let's see if, in view of what I just told you, which is based on direct experience. According to IBM, there are billions of lines of COBOL code out there as potential candidates for modernization. For this reason, the generative AI features of Watson X Code Assistant for Z, everybody's got an AI engine, are intended to help developers assess and determine the code most in need of modernization. How many billions of lines of code did they say there was? I might need a little help deciding the priorities of which ones to do something about first. Allowing them to more speedily update large applications and focus on critical tasks. Now that's corporate speak. IBM wants to provide tooling. This is just the article. It's Microsoft and it's Amazon and it's everybody else right now, right? Big AI, look at what we're going to do. IBM wants to provide tooling for each step of the modernization process, starting with its application discovery and delivery intelligence, ADDI, inventory and analysis tool. That's another word for we've specialized AI. Other steps include refactoring business services in COBOL. What's refactoring? Taking the way you did it, build it out how it is, the steps are logically, and then ask, in view of modern needs, could we streamline this or does it need to have some changes to the steps to go from A to the end B in doing a transaction of a certain kind? Other steps include refactoring business services in COBOL, transforming the code, oh, here's the big thing, transforming the code to Java code, and then validating. What does that mean? What does validating mean? When they would put a code update, like if you get the Windows code, the monthly Tuesday patch day stuff, and you put it on and your printer stopped working, didn't they test that? And it isn't just any printer. It's the printer brand used by like half the businesses of the world. I'm not making this up. Go back over about a year ago and see what was going. No, less than a year ago. See what was happening with Microsoft over a 4-month period. Businesses, printing services shut down when they did an update, just the monthly Windows patches. Yeah, this print spooler didn't work right anymore. Oh, what does a business need that for? We don't do anything on paper anymore, do we? See, I'm just enlivening it for you. Transforming code to Java code. Was IBM an early champion of Java? I just did it off the top of my head. This is IBM. IBM/open source/story. This is what Google search engine gave me. A strong history and commitment to open source. The Java programming language was meant to be open source from Sun Microsystems, now owned by somebody else, and secure. Oh, there'll never be any security bugs in this. That's what Java is all about. IBM's long history and strong commitment to open source is the best kept secret in open source. While open source, and our recent acquisition of Red Hat, open source Linux. But I'm looking for Java. Java. Oh, IBM. This is the IBM website. I've never seen this page before. How would I know about this? IBM was an early adopter and contributor to Java. Reaching back to the earliest days. We were instrumental in helping to shape the Java language and runtime, and J2EE. EE stands for Enterprise Edition, the one businesses would use, because it has the modules for replacing things like COBOL. The J2EE specifications, along with, I mentioned it, Sun Microsystems. Sun Microsystems were the ones that developed Java originally as an open source project. Over the years, we helped drive Java to open source that resulted in the OpenJDK project, becoming the premier source of Java. Our Java runtime J9, you see, they can write code they add in, and then they hand it back to the Java project. Like I make improvements to the Chromium code, it's open source, so I feed it back to Google to let them look at and see if they want to include it. Java 9, high performance, low memory footprint, Java virtual machine, optimized for the cloud. We continue to lead and contribute to the established. So is it a surprise that IBM would say, we're going to use AI to help move those billions of lines of COBOL that run on our Z mainframes? We want to sell more of them. Let's get more efficiency out of it. we're going to give you the AI tools to I'll bet they don't claim it's flawlessly. Rewrite it in Java. Rewrite it. So it'll just plug in. Transforming code to Java code and then validating the resulting outcome, testing it, and make sure that when you deploy it, like Wells Fargo Bank, and tomorrow when the world wakes up and 1 million customers do a transaction through Wells Fargo, that there aren't 500,000 complaints 5 hours later. What happened to my balance? I'm explaining it. I'm retired. I have direct experience. Transforming the code from Java, then validating the resulting outcome with the aid of automated testing. Now, let me tell you something. You know why Microsoft's monthly updates are full of so many bugs? Because they use automated testing. Yeah, they don't have people testing it. They automated the testing. Yeah. Automated testing guarantees there'll be no bugs. Ask anybody who uses Windows. The resulting Java code emitted by Watson X Code Assistant for Z will be object-oriented but will still interoperate. Here's the sell point, actually. With the rest of the COBOL application, IBM claimed, as well as with key services like CICS, DB2, IMS, and others. You mean people are still using kicks? That's how you pronounce that. Let's look up kicks. I have direct experience with kicks. Kicks. IBM Kicks, Customer Information Control System, is a family of mixed language application servers that provide online transaction management and connectivity for applications on the IBM mainframe systems. These Kicks family products are designed as middleware and support rapid high-volume online transaction processing. So besides the COBOL, these banks are also using Kicks on their Z mainframes because the code that compiled and ran on mainframes from 30 years ago, like 1990, still runs on the latest hardware today. IBM guarantees it. Think about that. Initial release of Kicks. We need to go back and look at COBOL. Initial release. Just so you know, I'm not BSing you. Initial release of Kicks, July 8th, 1969. Let's put that in perspective. System 390, IBM System 390. IBM System 390 is a discontinued mainframe product family implemented, the fifth generation of the System 360 instruction set architecture. Well, that's why the stuff still runs on, because they've kept the instruction set architecture. On September 5th, 1990, IBM published a group of hardware and software announcements, two of which included the IBM System 390, as in 360. It was originally System 360, 370, 380, 390. 390 came out in 1990. When did the 380 come out? Can you take a guess? How about the 360? It's easy for the 360 in the 1960s. COBOL, 1960s. Oh, no, I'm sorry, kicks. Let's go back to COBOL. We didn't get the year. Let me get the year. COBOL, 1959. People are still using a program language from 1959. 60 years ago. See, I'm smiling. Why would they do that? I already explained it with the example of Wells Fargo Bank. I just used them as a straw man. I just explained it. Do you know what's going to happen to any company that tries to go back and replace all that old code while they're in ongoing business at the level of millions of customers transacting every day? Oh, wait a minute. IBM says that they got the answer. AI. It might work out. It might work out. Because you see the grin on my face? We promise you that we touched no more code than absolutely needed to fix this security vulnerability. A vulnerability that if someone were sitting at home like I am right now, using their browser, and they just brought up the front page of the, let's say, bank that happened to be running using the software product that I was supporting, they only had to put their cursor up here on the URL of the front page and type in about 10 more characters, hit enter, and 10 seconds later, they're the super user on the computer down in there. I'm not kidding. There are lots of bugs like that today. Don't you follow the hacking news? How does Microsoft handle that kind of bug? Do they wait for the monthly security updates? No. They have what's called forced updates. They don't use exactly that wording, but what happens is easy. Whenever you start your Windows system, it does something like go look and see if there are any virus definition updates. And the moment it contacts Microsoft, it is forced to swallow the secret behind the scenes super vulnerability update of the type rated as 10 out of 10 that requires nothing more than somebody to actually be able to contact your computer to then execute simple code that simply takes it over. With no need for passwords, no need for accounts, no need for this hardware or that. It's such a fundamentally open door that they have no choice but to force any computer in the world running Windows that contacts Microsoft Home for any reason, they instantly force an update on it. It's built into Windows. They don't do that for the stuff that's rated 7 or 8. They wait for the monthly updates. But the ones that are 10 out of 10, that's what they do. And that's the one I help deal with. So that's how I know all this stuff. I know why they're still running the COBOL. I know why they're still running it. And I'm not surprised that it's billions of lines of code. And now there's going to be the geniuses are going to help them get away from that. We shall see. My prediction is that in another 30 years, there'll still be billions of lines of COBOL out there. Yep. And IBM, as an example, will still be producing Z machines of some kind that are backwards compatible, and you can just run that COBOL call. Betcha. The past predicts the future. So I just saw it there, so I decided to tell you about it. Steve AB4L, just having fun, saying see you in 73.